Hello and welcome to the beautiful but somewhat chilly Oulton Park in Cheshire for the beginning of what should be a tough and hard-fought season in the British GT Championship. Now, why do I think it's going to be tough and hard-fought? Well, you just have to cast your mind back to what happened last season. 2012 was one of the most dramatic seasons we've ever had in this championship.
Oh my word! It's the Nissan, but here comes the Aston. This is going to be monumentally close. Jody Fannin and Warren Hughes take the GT4 crown.
And it all came to a head with a stunning finale at Donington Park.
Oh no, Ollie Bryant, he's hit the points leader. That's a penalty for the BMW. They are out of the hunt. Michael Caine and Daniele Perfetti take the 2012 title.
So how do we top that? Well, the answer is simple. Make it bigger and better, with even more teams and an even stronger driver lineup. To see who should be in the mix for the 2013 season, let's join Martin Haven.
The grids this year will be a feast for any racing fan's senses, with a stunning array of machinery. There are several former champions going head-to-head. 2010 winner David Ashburn returns in the track speed Porsche. 2009 champions David and Godfrey Jones are back, this time in a new McLaren. And Michael Caine will defend his crown, but he's got a new teammate.
We won the championship last year without winning a race, and you know, we were very, very close. Obviously, we've come back. The aim is to win the championship, and we'll look at each meeting as it comes. But Amit's doing a great job in the car, and it's really going to be an interesting season, I think.
The M-Tech Ferrari came so close to the title last year, but luck wasn't on their side. However, confirmed petrolhead Duncan Cameron wasn't going to miss this meeting.
I grew up 4 miles away in Tiverton, so this is really my home track. I used to cycle here when I was 11, 12 years old. There used to be a gap in the wall between Druids and Lodge, but you could climb over for free.
Arguably the biggest name is Mark Blundell. The former McLaren Formula One driver's had a lot of success in sports cars, and he heads into battle this year for United Autosports.
I've had my days, I've done my bits, I've won Le Mans 24 hours, done Formula One, won Indy cars. I'm here to enjoy it, but I'm also here to try and get a result now and again. But I'm looking forward to it. Fantastic season, great race circuits that I grew up on as a kid doing Formula Ford 1600. And to turn up at somewhere like Oulton Park or Donington, Silverstone, Brands Hatch, great memories.
The British GT Championship continues to attract new teams to the series. Matteo Bobbi heads up the Italian Fighter for One team. 888 Optimum adds 2 more BMWs to the grid. And highly successful single-seater squad Fortec are also joining the British GT fold.
We feel that GT racing is growing rapidly, and I think that with Formula One shrinking, we have sort of 7 teams trying to produce Formula One drivers, and they're not all going to make Formula One. So we wanted something to put our drivers who don't make Formula One have something for them, so they can stay with Fortec, stay within the family, and move up with us into a different direction.
With bumper grids, the 2013 Avon Tyres British GT Championship is set to be a cracker.
It's incredible. I mean, we turn up here and we've got a full grid of cars. As I say, massive amount of talent and depth of team. And I think it's only going to get stronger, you know. And I think and believe that this is the best series in the UK. I think it's above British touring cars. I think you know, this is something that everyone should come along and watch. Once they've seen it once, they'll be hooked.
It's time for the first race of the season here at Oulton Park, and let's take a look at who's on pole. Well, it's the new boys, Fortec, in this fine-looking Mercedes. However, if you're new to British GT and you don't know what it's all about, just take a look at behind me at this astonishing grid. It's absolutely packed. We should see some amazing racing.
Time to go racing in the 2013 Avon Tyres British GT Championship. It's an achingly cold day, almost cold enough for snow at Oulton Park. And this on the first warm-up lap, Jay Palmer in the second-placed fighter for one Ferrari loops the car around on ice-cold tyres. And that's just a salient warning to everybody to mind their P's and Q's till they get some heat into the tyres. Lights off on the safety car. The Ferrari will continue on board with Gregor Fiskin in his track speed Porsche. You'll see the tartan colours from a mile away on that car. White Mercedes of Benji Hetherington on pole from the black Ferrari of Jay Palmer. There's the Nissan of Jody Fannin lying 6th behind a row 2 comprised all of Porsches. Lights off on the safety car. The 2013 British GT season is about to get underway. Looking for the green lights, and away they go. 17 rows of supercar fury heading down into the first corner at Oulton Park, and this is where you could so easily lose the race. Gregor Fiskin in trouble, one of the Mercedes is out, and so too is the Beech Dean Aston on the grass. And that's Jason Minshaw, whose brother John has moved up to second. All contact between the Nissan of Mark Cole on the inside of Gary Eastwood's Ferrari. Looks like they've escaped. On board with Marco Attard. Sporadic appearances in the Lamborghini last year. He signed up for the full season with the Kuriakos BMW team this year. Running down to the island hairpin. The grey McLaren there, 6th place for the Jones brothers, the 2009 champions. One of a handful of McLarens in the field, including those at United Autosports as well. And there is the red, white and black machine going by the spotty track speed Porsche of David Ashburn as Zach Brown picks up a spot. Forte boss Richard Dutton, one car in the lead, that's his Mercedes. The other one, unfortunately, in the barriers on the first corner, so not much difference from junior single-seaters that he knows plenty about. Dirt on the track from that warm-up lap spin, and a challenge from John Minshaw in the Demon Tweaks Porsche. Like his brother Jason, local lads to this Oulton Park circuit. Zach Brown picks up another place, goes by the Audi in United Autosports colours. So he's on a real charge, the boss of the United Autosports team, Gregor Fiskin, in his track speed Porsche, with the Fiskin tartan on his helmet and splashed all over the car just outside the top half dozen. Benji Hetherington leading then, raced a Nissan last year. John Minshaw in second place, easy to spot. Hamid Al-Hati in third position, shares with reigning champion Michael Caine in contact for fourth, and the Ferrari up in the air. Well, that is Derek Johnston in the first of the M-Tech Ferraris, and it was contact with Jay Palmer, who hit the barriers on the formation lap, and you can see the car stranded in the middle of the track. In the pits is Andrew Howard in the Beech Dean Aston Martin 007. Damage on lap 1, race 1 of the season. Things can only get better. Safety car is out, and that means that Ferrari is stranded, as I rather feared.
On my inside, okay, you push me on.
Doesn't make much sense longer, does it?
Listen, come here. I'll be going to talk to Gregor after this.
Right, okay, you do that.
Yeah?
Tell him I'll come and see him after.
Well, a patently disappointed Jason Minshaw, and Andy has caught up with him.
Talk us through what happened.
Well, there's a lot of people with obviously zero talent into the first corner of an hour race, and I was just out on the outside minding my own business, and an Aston Martin appears in my right rear wheel and knocks me off. Apparently there's a Porsche up the inside of him. I just had a chat with him as he was having his pit stop to repair all the wreckage. But what can you say? I mean, game over before you even started, really.
Well, on board with Gregor Fiskin, and it's the ice-cold temperatures here as well as the grass that are at stake. Fiskin down the inside of the Aston, loses control, and after that it's just a cannonball effect. Minshaw, the man on the outside, and out of the race before it started.
Well, that ended early.
Yeah, I'm not really impressed at talking to you at this point in the race, I'm totally honest. I would rather be out there fighting, but driving standards again, absolutely shocking.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not going to name names at this point. We'll put an official protest in this time. You know, the start of a GT race, 32 cars at Oulton Park, you can't have those sort of driving standards. You can't have cars coming up on the inside on the grass. You know, the track is 2 cars wide and we should be going in 2 cars.
Here we go, restarting, and Benji Hetherington on the brakes and slowing up. John Minshaw in second place now. He springs away in the Mercedes. Minshaw under pressure from the white and blue Porsche. That's Ahmed Al-Hati in third, Jay Palmer in fourth position. And it looks like they're being a lot more sensible second time through. Ooh, a handful of opposite lock from Gregor Fiskin. What little heat they had in the tyres after the opening few laps has all gone behind the safety car. The track is at near 0 degrees. These cars are going to be like driving on ice for the first lap or two. The brakes won't work, they won't corner the way they should. Drivers will have to be very cautious on this high-speed Grand Prix layout at Oulton Park. Well, there is the Nissan. And there, out of the race for good, I'm afraid, is the Beech Dean Aston Martin. We heard from Andrew Howard, and it looks like the team are going to have to work on that for race 2. Benji Hetherington pulling away. Looks like John Minshaw has shaken off Ahmed Al-Hati. He's got trouble behind, though. Jay Palmer's black Ferrari, then the Nissan. Jody Fan in the 2012 GT4 champion driving solo in that red and black JRM run Nissan. And right behind, an all-McLaren battle for 5th position. It's the Jones brothers, David Jones in the grey McLaren. The red, white and black one, that is United Autosports boss Zach Brown. And Zach, the only United Autosports McLaren in the race. Mark Blundell not racing. Roger Wills crashed the car in qualifying, so they are not able to start. United Autosports also running their Audi R8s. There's the 21 M-Tech Ferrari, Duncan Cameron, the most local of local boys here, just 4 miles away. I'm sure that must trump the Minshaw brothers for proximity to the circuit. And he's in the only M-Tech Ferrari, the other one of teammate Derek Johnston, victim of a side swipe from the black Ferrari of Jay Palmer. And unfortunately, they're out in what's been a dramatic start to the season already. Round 1 British GT Championship at Oulton Park, battle for 4th place, and the Nissan of Jody Fannin has now got by that damaged Ferrari of Jay Palmer. Oh dear, and that's the GT4 Aston Martin, that's Steve Chaplin. Well, you don't have a small accident at Deersley, but I reckon we might be seeing a safety car. Meanwhile, Zach Brown in the number 23 McLaren on a real charge now. And, the Aston's got going and back into the pit lane. Good work by Steve Chaplin. Here comes Zach Brown down the inside of Jay Palmer and gets through safely. Jay Palmer couldn't get the door shut. He's already got by David Jones in that grey McLaren Zach Brown had. Now Jones trying to find his way by. Palmer is on the grass. And through, I think, went another champion. Yes, David Ashburn in that spotty Porsche got by David Jones. Well, right behind them, the Ginetta, the number 16 car of Richard Sykes, and then the Nissan as well. So there's 6 different manufacturers in those 6 cars battling. John Minshaw there in 2nd. Ahmed Al-Hati in 3rd position. Jody Fannin in 4th in the Nissan. Zach Brown up to 5th. Jay Palmer clinging on to 6th as David Ashburn lunges down the inside. Nice clean move for the former champion, who said again this weekend that he may be on the verge of retirement. I think on the verge of frostbite are the 2 Kyrgios replacement drivers, Piers Johnson and Ollie Bryant, keeping warm before their stints. The Kyrgios single car operation with the BMW last year in the championship hunt till the end of the year. They've got 2 BMs, 888 Optimum, the black car behind. They've got 2 BMW Z4s in the field as well. Well, phenomenal variety in British GTs. On board with Gregor Fiskin, somebody smoking, and Nissan is off. And is that a tyre gone on the Ginetta or an engine? Tyres don't tend to burn. I'm guessing it may be something under the bonnet in the engine department. Now, is he going to park it by a fire extinguisher? I hope he's not trying to make for the pits. He'll need to get his belts undone while he can still see that has really taken hold. That is a massive conflagration. And again, we may well need a safety car. Oil all over the circuit. Driver's door is open. And got to undo the radio. All these things to think of. Going back into the Inferno to unplug himself. Well done indeed. Wow, you've got to be calm in situations like that. Richard Sykes getting as far away from the car as he can. Meanwhile, Jay Palmer in the damaged Italian-entered Ferrari, trying to hold off, appropriately I guess, trying to hold off David Jones, former champion in his first outing in the McLaren. Ooh, on the grass there under braking. Was that a safety car we saw being scrambled, or another rescue vehicle down at the bottom? The marshals are doing as much as they can. course, at the beginning of the race, these cars are pretty heavily laden with fuel. And I think we're going to count another car out. And it looks as though the Nissan that went off on the dirt is staying off on the dirt as well. So Mark Cole is out of the race, went off on the oil, I think. John Minshaw in from second place. Yellow flags out on the far side of the circuit. Pit window is open. Ooh, and how much oil is there on the track, or is that just cold tyre temperatures? Race leader continues, but most of the rest of the field scrambling to make early driver changes. Now, often you'll want to make them to suit your driver pairings, having the faster guy in longer. But if there's a yellow flag, that is the prime time to make your change. Matt Griffin takes over from Duncan Cameron, and most of the teams have their second driver as the faster driver. So this is working out well for all of them. The twins David and Godfrey Jones here in this silver McLaren. No difference between them. Benji Hetherington, our race leader. Look at the car twitch. That Fortec Mercedes is really being pushed very hard indeed. He needs to make the most of this time when he's at full speed and everybody else is stationary in a very busy pit lane. This could be a masterstroke from Fortec, leaving him out maybe for a lap until everybody else has exited the pit lane, and before he catches this slow traffic, they need to bring him in now. Richard Westbrook leaves the pit lane. There's Phil Keane taken over from John Minshaw, the car that was second. Here's the car that is the undoubted race leader. Is he coming in this time, Benji Hetherington? Yes, he is. Now, there is oil on the way into the pits. No dramas for him. The Fortec team will make their first ever British GT Racing pit stop. And they're at the sharp end of the pit lane, right up the back there. He slots in and will jump out. And now it is up to Phil Keane to try and put in an absolutely barnstorming opening lap to see if he can get back to the line in front of Benji Hetherington. Still rescuing the Nissan in the background, the Ginetta in the foreground, and snow on the hills. Oh, and looks like some tape flailing around as exiting the pit lane. Ollie Hancock in the lead Mercedes. The battle is on for victory here. And Andy's with Benji Hetherington.
Now, I could be wrong, but you look like you enjoyed that immensely.
Yeah, I did, yeah. It was a good stint. It was interesting because, you know, the start was pretty hectic. A lot of cars going into the first corner, so to get through that cleanly, I mean, being at the front helped. So after that, yeah, got my head down, pulled out a nice gap, and then there was all sorts of safety cars and cars crashing around the circuit, so it was a difficult stint. But we came in the lead, and we're still in the lead now, so we'll see what happens.
Bit of an unknown entity for the usual GT teams, and of course for yourselves. What's your approach?
Well, to be honest, just go out there and just go as quick as we can, really. We can't really, you know, we haven't really been experienced enough as a team to, you know, plan for anything but just going as fast as you can. So, yeah, it seems to be working all right at the moment.
Well, all he can do is watch his teammate here, Ollie Hancock, battle with Phil Keane, who is in second position. And what is the gap between the two of them? It's up to about 4.5 seconds. Phil Keane with work to do. One lap more heat in the tyres. Let's get to his teammate, John Minshaw. Andy has caught up with him. Hear about his first stint.
There's a proper tussle at the front there, isn't there?
Well, I didn't know when it was going to start with all the safety cars. I mean, we seemed to be out in age.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just tagged on to the Merc and just trying to keep it clean and just neat and tidy. And then right at the end when we were coming in, I thought, you know, that car was on fire, and I thought, you know, was he in the middle of the track? So I scrubbed off too much speed there, but I thought I've got to bring the car home. I didn't know where he was on the track. That was pretty hairy.
Midway through the opening race of the British GT Championship, and variety and excitement everywhere. Ollie Hancock leads by inches now from Phil Keane. They've got to roll off the throttle gently here and reduce their speed past the yellow flags. Still rescuing that burned out Ginetta, and the battle for the lead is coming up behind another of the Ginettas. Well, now these two GT3 spec cars are going to be a lot faster. They're going to be catching that slow machine at a rapid rate of knots. Let's hope he's watching the mirrors, because there'll be no second chances for Ollie Hancock. He's got to make the move, and he does. The leader, though, under real pressure. Phil Keane, a very experienced GT racer. Ollie Hancock, much fresher to the championship. Did race the Akira Cross BMW last year, but that probably felt a little different from this. And of course, Fortec with no experience of GT racing or the Mercedes. They're a very substantially experienced team. They will have got a good setup on the car. Nevertheless, track speeds Porsches, they know inside out. And right now, Phil Keane is hunting for the lead. He is all over the back of Ollie Hancock, really piling the pressure on the youngster. Well, here we come once more down the hill into the braking area, and again the Mercedes right in the middle of the road, closing the door on the inside as well as the outside, leaving Phil Keane with no option but to go the long way round. Again, as they head up towards Druids on yet another lap, battles raging all the way further down. There's Matt Griffin in that red and white Ferrari, the predominantly white Audi of Matt Bell right behind, John Gore behind them, and just in front, Godfrey Jones with the indicators on his McLaren. This is a four-car queue for 14th, so the Joneses not faring well in the pit stops. They've dropped back 7 spots. In fact, they're just catching another battle. Tom Sharp in 13th place, the orange and black Ginetta, and he's trying to get by Declan Jones, who's second in the GT4 class, just in front of him. He makes the move up the inside into quicker GT3 Ginetta, headlights ablaze. Now it's up to Godfrey Jones to try and make his way past the car that Zoe Wenham started. Yellow flags still out down towards the end of the lap at Deer Leap, so you should not be overtaking, even if it is a lapped car. Godfrey Jones, Matt Griffin, bad driving by those championship front runners. Now Matt Bell goes by, but it's green there. John Gore also making his way past the slower Ginetta there with his headlights ablaze in the back of this queue. Lots of close racing, and none closer than the lead battle. Ollie Hancock still just in front. It's the battle for 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. Plunges down the hill, nose to tail. Back with the leaders, there is Hancock. Phil Keane in second place. Oh, and closing in behind, the spotty track speed Porsche. That's Nick Tandy in third. Battle for the lead, round one of the British GT Championship. The first 2 cars separated by inches. Ollie Hancock in the white Fortec Mercedes SLS, and right behind, alongside him, Phil Keane in the Demon Twigs Porsche, and closing in fast. Look at that. Third place, Nick Tandy, former Porsche Super Cup champion, factory Porsche driver. Looks like he's got the warp drive on his track speed Porsche. He is closing so quickly. It is now a 3-way tussle for the lead. 2011 champion Glyn Geddy in 4th place ahead of Michael Caine, the reigning champion. And here comes Tandy around the outside into the island hairpin. He's in 2nd place. Will he take the lead on the exit? He has a massive slide over the curbs. He's up into 2nd already. And I tell you what, Ollie Hancock had better be minding his manners over the hill and down the other side, because Tandy will go straight by him if their door is even slightly open. Here he comes. He can't go around the outside there, so he has to wait for the chicane. Now, who is going to get the best traction on the exit? Tandy with a massive slide, trying to come back inside him, Phil Keane. Tiny breathing space for Ollie Hancock. Back with this midfield battle. Still Godfrey Jones, Matt Griffin, Matt Bell and John Gore. McLaren, Ferrari, Audi and Aston Martin. What more could you ask for? Plenty of excitement and entertainment wherever the fans here at Oulton Park happen to be standing. There's a race going on right beside them. Godfrey Jones in that McLaren under real pressure from Matt Griffin. Irish driver desperate to find a way past. His racing season started early this year. He's already done a number of Enduros. And he has got Matt Bell all over the back of him. Leader Ollie Hancock in the Mercedes, really feeling the pressure again. Nick Tandy in 2nd. Phil Keane in 3rd place. A Porsche in either mirror for the leader. He's got to keep his nose clean. Oh, Tandy having a little look perhaps. Very close. Hard on the brakes down to the island hairpin. Sweeping around, using the banking to get extra traction on the exit. He's going to have a lunge up the inside. Can't get through. It's just too short in almost any car to make a pass there into the braking area. Hancock drifts a little wide. missed the apex. Here comes Tandy. He's going around the outside. This time he's got the run on him. Surely he's going to nose in front around the bounce of the Mercedes. No, can't quite get it done. But again, Hancock in, too late, too deep. Slides wide, can't get the power on. This time traction is vital for Tandy. Can he get the drive up towards Druids? On the grass, two wheels on the tarmac. He's on the inside now as they get to the double right-hander. Oh, wheel to wheel for the lead of the race. Ollie Hancock holding on in Mercedes. Phil Keane trying to pick up something in the red and white car, but it is Nick Tandy that leads. Phil Keane is on the inside as well, down to Lodge Corner. Into Deer Leap, he takes second place. Wow, what a lap of racing that was for all three men. Now it's Porsche, Mercedes, and 2011 champion Glengetty in fourth place in the McLaren. Can he close in now? Another McLaren, still feeling pressure. Matt Griffin down the inside. No yellow flags anymore. The fire's out on the Ginetta, and he picks up 13th position from Godfrey Jones. Matt Bell right behind. Bell looking to try and make a move in that Audi R8. That's the car that United Autosports used to make their British GT debut 2 years ago here at Oulton Park. Stop and go for the GT4 leading Ginetta. Ryan Ratcliffe is in. Car was started by Rick Parfitt Jr.
What was that for?
Oh, do you know what? I actually don't know. We're still in the dark as to what that was for. You know, we'd just taken the lead. I was very happy with my first stint. I've only ever had like 15 laps in the car before coming here, so really happy with my pace. Harried the Aston, made him make a mistake and got second. Was quite happy to sit there and hand the car over to Ryan. Ryan's really quick. We took the lead, and that stop and go is going to at least, I guess, make the race more interesting.
Well, it also hands the lead to this man, Declan Jones. He is racing with Zoe Wenham, who was last year's GT4 Championship runner-up. Now then, Tandy and Keane leading in Porsches. Ollie Hancock in the Fortec Mercedes under pressure for the podium. Final spot. Third is the Mercedes. Fourth is Glengetty in the United Autosports McLaren. Tries to go around the outside, but can't battle for sixth position. Is again an all-Porsche affair. Here comes Getty. Trying to go around the outside to get the run on the inside into Old Hall, but the Mercedes has the grip in the braking area and he keeps his nose in front. That is great racing. Great racing here as well. Battle for 11th. Aaron Scott's Ferrari cleanly up the inside of Jody Fannin in that Nissan that he's driving solo. Fifth place battle with Richard Westbrook chasing down reigning champion Michael Caine. Porsche versus Porsche. Double brakes from Caney into the island bend. Then down into the Shed Oils hairpin. Westbrook, ultra experienced in Porsches, raced for many years successfully in the Porsche Super Cup, winning the championship. Meanwhile, battle for third continues up front, and a mistake from Ollie Hancock. Will he get it back under control? He does. Just manages to as he shoots the chicane at Britain's. Down the hill, he's got dirt and grass all over his tyres. Just manages to get that Mercedes stopped properly, though. He's got Glengetty right behind him, and Michael Caine and Richard Westbrook will be all over them in a fraction. Glengetty senses his opportunity. He can smell the blood in the water. Hancock is making mistakes. He's got to press and capitalise now if he wants to make the McLaren a podium finisher. He's got a good run going here. Goes around the outside towards Lodge. That's always asking for trouble. Got to cut back on the inside now. Out of Dearly, around the long way, but it gives him the inside line. And again, Hancock leaves him just enough room to survive. This time, though, Getty has got his nose in front into Old Hall, and with a squirm from the tyres, he takes third place, and the Porsches are right with them. Four cars together. McLaren, Mercedes, Porsche, and Richard Westbrook all over Michael Caine. Looking to do a Nick Tandy here and shoot the whole queue of them all in one go. Westbrook is with Caine. Caine is breathing in the fumes from that Mercedes. And where is the McLaren? It's starting to stretch away already. The island hairpin is not the place to make a move on the inside unless you want a big crash. It's on the exit here. You've got to get the power down smoothly. Running up to the chicane at Britain's. Michael Caine, car number one, in the middle of this three-way squabble just off the podium in Oulton Park. Epic action at Oulton Park, British GT Championship round 1. Nick Tandy leads from Phil Keane and Glyn Geddy. Ollie Hancock in 4th place, leading this long queue of cars now for the remaining top 10 positions pretty much. Ollie Hancock in the Mercedes, the white and blue Porsche, Michael Caine. Richard Westbrook, the red and black car, maybe under a cloud after having Andrew Howard off on the first lap. Gregor Fiskin, the man who did the damage, Andrew Howard, we already heard, will protest that officially. All action at the back of the pack. Here comes Alan Simonson all over the 888 car. That's Dan Brown in the new 888 Optimum BMW. Simonson moves up a spot. There's the damaged car started by Jay Palmer, number 27. The Vita 4-1 Italia car now driven by team boss Matteo Bovi. They go by our GT4 race leader. One after the next, after he's going, come on, how many more are there? I've got to try and get round the chicane as well, you know. Good work by the front runners. All too easy to make contact. This is an old, narrow racetrack. Once more. Oh dear, now who's that? Was that Glyn Geddy? It was Glyn Geddy in the background there. That's the McLaren out of 3rd. So suddenly this huge queue is for 3rd. And off has gone the BMW of Ollie Bryant. Bounced off, I think, by contact with Alan Simonson under braking. Sort of half caught a glimpse of that. Simonson behind Matteo Bovi now. Simonson, the number 3 Rosso Verdi Ferrari. And that is the end of the race for the McLaren. Oh, heartbreak. What a shame for former champion Glyn Geddy. Walks away from that one with nary a backward glance. Well, that opens up a podium spot for this queue at the moment. The white Mercedes, Ollie Hancock, is in 3rd. 4th and 5th are the 2 Porsches. 32 there, Westbrook in 5th spot, still behind Michael Caine. Checks his mirror again. Caine on the brakes at the bottom of the hill. 2 Ferraris coming hard. Matteo Bovi, first time as far as I'm aware that Matteo Bovi's ever raced at Oulton Park. Donington he raced in FIA GTs, but not Oulton. And right behind him is a man with much more experience, the Danish Aussie Alan Simonson. Again with Richard Westbrook. Michael Caine turns in a little later. Higher line in the middle of the banking. Westbrook keeps his nose tucked in, but it seems to be either line works. And there is Alan Simonson. Look how much this is all closing up. The 2 BMWs now at the back. The black one of Dan Brown and the white one of Ollie Bryant. This is 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th places all together. It's still a Porsche 1-2. Nick Tandy from Phil Keane. So track speed 1-2. Michael Caine can get in there. It could be a Porsche clean sweep of the podium. Or, of course, perhaps Richard Westbrook, assuming they don't get excluded for that first corner incident. Well, still a chance of a Mercedes, a Ferrari or a BMW making it onto the podium. This battle is so tight. Matteo Bovi in the black car having a little sniff around the back of Richard Westbrook. He'll have to have more than a little sniff to catch Westy out. Meanwhile, here comes Alan Simonson. He's got a run going. Oh, had to push the Ferrari there to chop back inside him. Lucky not to pick him up and tag him as Westbrook looks inside. Caine gets on the dirt, slows himself up. Bovi has to counter steer. Big slide from him. Through goes Simonson. Picks up 1. Can he get Westbrook at the bottom of the hill? No. Can he get him on the run through to the island bend? Perhaps. Meanwhile, here comes the black BMW of Dan Brown. He can sniff the blood in the water as well. Oh, Westbrook, tiny mistake there. May have cost him the chance to get this car onto the podium, but he's still got the Ferrari behind him of Alan Simonson. There is Simonson, the red Ferrari, Matteo Bovi, the black Ferrari, Ollie Bryant on the back of the queue in the Acuria Cross BMW, and still in front of this lot, and back up to 3rd, Ollie Hancock's white Fortec Mercedes. Fortec could end up with a podium finish in their first ever British GT race, unless Michael Caine knows different in that white and blue Porsche. The reigning champion, with a good run again, could easily get by the Mercedes. Got to say though, Ollie Hancock is looking a lot more settled than he was early in the stint. Breathless stuff at Oulton Park. Ollie Hancock in 3rd in the Mercedes, everyone else in 4th. On board with Richard Westbrook in 5th position. drives the curbs, checks the mirrors, checks the mirrors, checks the mirrors. Got to see whether or not the number 3 Ferrari pulls out. It does not. Alan Simonsen could not get the run going from Druids. But here we go, out of the elite. Let's see if the Ferrari's acceleration is quicker than the Porsche's. Mercedes runs out wide to deny the Porsche the inside line. Hancock is still in 3rd, Kane still in 4th. Westbrook still in 5th as we ride with him. Watch his head, how many times he has to check the mirror just to see where Alan Simonsen's got to. He's not attacking Kane now so much as denying Simonsen the inside line at the bottom of the hill. Checks the mirror again. Spatial awareness is absolutely critical in any top flight racing drive. You can't race wheel to wheel unless you know where your rivals are. In front, behind, alongside. No spotters here as you'd find on an American racing oval. None of that. He's behind you, he's below you. No pantomime crowds here either. Michael Kane, the reigning champion, still working hard to force an error from Ollie Hancock. Can't quite do it. Hancock's defence looks pretty resolute now. Is that the curse of the commentator? Down we come again to the Knickerbrook chicane. Hancock's Mercedes looks well planted, using its tyres well, still got plenty of grip. It's flapping off that damaged Fiskin's Porsche. The battle for 5th might swing to the Ferrari. Alan Simonsen is very close, coming up to Druids. Lots of chatter at the front of Westbrook's Porsche. Can't be helping its handling. Damaged bodywork flapping in the wind. Here comes Hancock in 3rd. Kane in 4th, number 1, the blue and white. The tartan of the Fiskin clan on board as Dan Brown goes up the inside of Matteo Bobby. Welcome to British GT racing. Well, at least it's not British touring cars and he's damaged. Into the pit lane comes Bobby. Is that right front wheel out of line? Yes, it is. Broken steering arm from contact with the BMW that is trying to get round the corner. Puncture, surely. Or something broken on Dan Brown's car, the biter bit. Well, Brown paid the price for that contact as surely as Matteo Bobby did. The Italian in the pit lane looks like Dan Brown might be out of the race. One of the things that will be on all the drivers' minds now is how many laps left, how long to go. The teams have got to keep them informed. So busy in these cars. Down the gearbox hard into the Shell Oil's hairpin. Again accelerating with every ounce of the car's energy. And once more onto the brakes as quickly as you can say it. Up and down these paddle shift gearboxes. Well, there is the fighter for 1 Ferrari out of its first British GT race. On board again with Richard Westbrook, middle of the road, a defensive rather than aggressive line there. He knows the Ferrari's all over him. He's got to hold it off. Westbrook has gone from the hunter into the hunted, hasn't he, in the last few laps? Alan Simonsen all over him in the number 3 Rosso Verde Ferrari. Simonsen cannot unlock his defences, though, the same way that Michael Kane can't get alongside the Mercedes in front for 3rd place. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all together, keeping the crowd on the edge of their seats, flying into their hands and stamping their feet undoubtedly in the Arctic conditions. Dan Brown, it was a puncture, it was from that contact, it was enough, I think, to put him out of the race in the closing stages. But he's crawling around. Let's hope he doesn't get in the way of this man, the leader, Nick Tandy, or the Porsche right behind him, the one started by John Minshaw. Phil Keane is still keeping the leader honest. They've gone by another of the back markers, but these two nose to tail for the lead of the race. The gap has come and gone. Oh, that damage was from the warm-up lap spin initially. The team will have to repair that for race 2. 2nd place car in GT4, Ryan Ratcliffe, after that stop-and-go penalty, now being caught by the overall leaders. And he'll stay out of the way. He's not close enough to the leaders to make a difference in that GT4 battle now. He's just got to not get hit. Through goes Nick Tandy in the spots. Through goes Phil Keane in the green, white and red and Demon Tweaks logos. David Ashburn, the former champion, started that spotty number 31 car. Sister number 33 machine started by John Minshaw. And trouble, what's going on with Nick Tandy? He has slowed as well. Now, did he hand the lead over on the last lap, or has he got a problem? Well, these cars are always laden with enough fuel to make the race, but you always try and make sure you don't add an extra kilo, an extra litre of fuel and make the car heavier than it needs to be. Could it be that he had a stutter there as the car didn't pick up the last of the fuel in the tank? It seems to be going okay now. Whatever the answer, it is Phil Keane that leads in the number 33 Porsche. It is still a track speed 1-2, but that won't matter to the drivers of 33 and 31, as one's inherited the lead and the other has lost it. Well, I can't believe in race 1 of the championship there was anything approaching team orders, any willingness to hand over the lead there from Nick Tandy. That's not the sort of driver he is, really. But nevertheless, Phil Keane swept by. Tandy is not really keeping up to speed, is he? He should be right behind Phil Keane, up his back bumper, and he's not. Well, drama from the first corner almost to the very last. Phil Keane will come out of the elite to see the checkered flag. He will only lead 1 lap. This is the 1 lap as he wins the British GT season opener. It's a track speed Porsche 1-2.
How can he do that to me?
How can he do that to you? You're such a nice chap as well. Now then, the battle is on for third. It is going to be the Fortec McLaren that takes the podium. And behind him, here comes Michael Caine and Richard Westbrook for fourth. Caine is in front, and Westbrook's teammate will head to the stewards anyway. And for the GT4 win, Zoe Wenham started the car. It is victory for her and Declan Jones, who takes the checker. Breathless stuff in Oulton Park. Wenham and Jones claiming the GT4 win. Hetherington and Hancock, Ashburn and Tandy trailing in behind Minshaw and Keane.
Well, that must feel pretty rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a good start to the year, you know, good set of points to start off with, so no, really pleased.
If I'd offered it you beforehand, you would have snapped my hand off.
Yes, definitely, yeah, so can't ask for a better start, really. John drove brilliantly and, you know, the car was great, Tim did a great job, so that's it.
It wasn't the top step of the podium, it was a good race, but we ended up with a little vibration at the end, and I wasn't really sure where it was coming from, so I thought it's best just to back the pace off, and obviously there's no point in fighting with Phil.
I could see that the two Porsches were closing down on me very, very quickly. Apologies for Nick, I apparently ran him on the grass a little bit, so apologies for him for doing that. I didn't quite realise it got that far. And then actually when Michael Caine was in fourth and got close to me, he never really had a go, so I think I found a little bit of pace to match the other guys, and it was just enough to give me a bit of a buffer. I could work out where I was fast and keep the gap.
Winning historic races, and Phil Keane is the other victor. Everybody please, trophies in the air, cameras.
Alan Simonson started race 2 of the season on pole position in the Rosso Verdi Ferrari. Everybody this time making it safely through the first corner. After a storming drive, the Dane handed over to teammate Hector Lester, but a long pit stop dropped them down the order. There were problems too for the Porsche of Gregor Fiskin. The car refused to fire up and blocked several cars in the busy pit lane. Meanwhile, out on track, Derek Johnson getting caught out on oil from a smoky GT4 Ginetta, skated out of control and into Alex Osborne, the guilty party. Looks like oil on the tyres caused Andrew Howard to spin his Aston. He did get going once more, but might have wished he hadn't. Moments later, John Minshaw lunging up the inside of the Curiacos BMW gets it all wrong. And yes, Andrew Howard's Beechstein Aston rudely assaulted by a Porsche for the second time in 2 races. Surely his luck must change next time out. Meanwhile, at almost exactly the same time, the Ginetta of Colin White developed a problem with its exhaust, which quickly broke into a fire. Well, as the flames took hold, Colin desperately looked for somewhere to bail out at the side of the track. The smoke filling the cockpit, trying to find the marshals with the fire extinguishers is not an easy task. They were quickly on the scene to extinguish the flames.
The exhaust come off, and coming up the hill I could smell fiberglass burning. I was just checking the mirrors out, and then coming in the back straight, and looked to me right-hand side corner, and at the corner of my eye, I could see a flame nickering. And then all of a sudden it went woof and just burst into flames. And then they said, I told them the exhaust had come off. They said, come in the pits. And I could know it was just on fire too much to come in the pits, too dangerous in here. So I ditched it on the side of the track there. So then got out quick as I could.
It's lucky you got out when you did, because it's a heck of a... Well, I mean, Guy Fawkes would be proud of that.
Yeah, it just got progressively worse once fiberglass and Kevlar gets hot, it burns even more. I just ripped all the helmet stuff out of my helmet trying to get out the car, and that left it behind.
That left a short sprint finish at the end of the race. David Ashburn holding off Mark Patterson in United Autosports Audi as they crested the rise to take the flag. Ashburn claiming the win that was denied him in race 1. Zoe Wenham just kept a hard-charging Rick Parfitt Jr. at bay as they squabbled all the way to the line for honours in GT4. A double GT4 winning weekend for Zoe Wenham and Declan Jones then. With the BMW in third and Audi in second, it was Tandy and Ashburn who claimed victory in race 2.
David, 20 seconds, congratulations.
Thank you.
How did that feel?
Great, I love the safety car. you get the Nick to drive the cars first. It gives you 10 seconds that you lost on a pit stop, and that was enough. So that was easy, very easy.
It's been a fantastic weekend. I have to really fight hard with Rick and the Optimum car at the end of that race to hold on to that win. The first win was a lot easier for Declan, and he's been fantastic all weekend.
Well, Zoe Wenham, Declan Jones are the championship leaders in GT4 with 2 wins, and with a second and a first, it's Nick Tandy and David Ashburn atop the overall point standings.
And then the bit that everybody wants, they all huddle
Well, we
together
told you
on
that the
top
British
stand.
GT season should have everything to be quite incredible and better than last year, and if those first 2 races are only to go by, you're not going to be disappointed. The teams have got a couple of weeks rest, and then they're heading to start it all again in Rockingham. We'll see you there.